This is Clem with Clem's Organic Gardens in Brevard, North Carolina. Today is May 28th, 2017, and I am flame weeding today, and I want to show some of that. First of all, I'll show my flame weeder. I have a backpack flame weeder. It's this thing. It's basically a big propane torch. I bought this thing, the actual torch part of it, off of Amazon. I think it's a Red Dragon, I believe. I got the torch, and it's got a little valve with the hand valve, and this hose that connects to a propane tank. It's like, I think it was like $85 for that, and then I got like a 20-pound propane tank, and just hitched it onto I found this backpack frame from an external frame backpack at a thrift store. Just took the backpack part off of it and rigged it up with bungee cords. You can get the whole rigmarole put together, and it has like a miniature propane tank on it that's a little easier to carry around. And it's also probably more stable on the frame than this is. It's a little bit jiggly because of those bungee cords. But this works for me, and it's just easier to find these tanks. I like to have more propane, period, and I like to have a spare one around too, because I do quite a bit of flame weeding. So these are especially useful with direct seeded crops, especially carrots and parsnips. So this field is seeded to parsnips. I'm going to flame it today, and I already took a look in here, and there's actually, so I seeded these 11 days ago, and they got pretty good moisture. I got them irrigated pretty well initially. Got these irrigation guns. Those are pretty cool. There's 3 of these, and they can cover this whole field, which is 48 feet wide. 8 beds of 6 feet each. And I just now spotted my first parsnip popping out of the ground. So they are actually starting to come up. I didn't realize that. I thought they were getting ready to. So that's good. That means it's time to flame weed. Again, that's the only one I've seen coming up, and I seeded these pretty heavily, so I feel fine about going over the row. But what I usually do is, I get out of the shadow here. I dig around to look for seeds that are in there. And so right there, can you see that? Yeah. So this is a pelleted seed. Half the pellet fell off. It's just, the parsnip seeds are funny shaped. And so I got a seed that has it's like a kind of a clay like ball around it. And that's what you see there. But this is, what we're looking for is the root here that's sticking out of it. And that's a pretty long, this thing's about to pop up out of the ground, just like his buddy did. So that means it's time to flame weed. And so the theory here is, right before these are ready to pop out of the ground, there's all these other weeds that have come up in the meantime. Like that's lamb's quarter, I think. Oh, look, there's another parsnip. Might have a little bit of collateral damage. I think that's Galensoga. I'm not sure what that one is. But these will cause a nightmare if we don't do anything about them. So what we can do is run that propane torch along the top. Morning glory, always present in these fields, it seems like. And it'll zap all those little weeds. I'm going to try to demonstrate that real quick, and then go down the whole row. So what it does, the theory, as I'm told, is it's not actually like burning the weeds up. What you want to do is it just heats them up to a certain temperature, and I don't remember what that temperature is, but in theory, if you plant reaches that temperature, then it's like its cell walls rupture or something. So when a plant's that small, it's like, that's all it's got. Those are all annual weeds. They've just shot up from seed, and if their leaves die, like, they're toast. There's nothing. They don't have any backup. If you use that on something perennial that's shooting up, or any kind of bigger weed, it doesn't really work. It might like kind of cook the leaf itself, but the plant won't die. So this is the time to do it. And this thing, I already have the tank turned on a little bit. Turn this on a little bit to get it lit. Turn it on a little too much. And then when you go through the row, you just let the push the valve in, and oh, this is gonna be hard to try not to kill myself doing this here. And you get that powerful flame as you go down the row. I'm gonna try to demonstrate this real quick, and it doesn't take too much. Like I said, you don't have to like sit there and cook the weeds. I'm gonna try to get a shot of what it's doing. These are some buckwheats, which aren't really a bad weed. They're left over from a previous cover crop, but they're kind of missing the space. Let's see if that was enough. That wasn't quite enough. See, there you go. And they just kind of plop over like that, like a couple seconds later. So I'm just gonna do one row. You might not be able to see, but I can kind of see where my planting rows are, where I seeded these crops. And I'm just gonna run along it. And that's about all there is to it. Oh, and you can test. Let me see if I can demonstrate this. I'll try the buckwheat again, because it's kind of hard to show it, but you can test to see if it worked. You can test to see if what you did worked. I don't know if that's going to focus or not, but if you pinch it and it leaves an imprint, that means you got it. That one's, yeah, so that one's, even though this didn't fall over, I'm pretty sure that one's dead, or is going to die. And yeah, and I'll go through this whole field. Probably won't take too long, probably take 20 minutes or so. And we'll have much better weed control for these parsnips, which are notorious for being difficult to control weeds in. I mean, this isn't going to like solve all of our weed problems. There'll still be hand weeding, and I'll hoe in between the rows. I'm just going over top of the rows themselves, because I can get through with I use a wheel hoe to get in between, and that's pretty quick too. But yeah, that's that. I'm excited about parsnips starting to emerge. And there's the rest of the farm.